What's up, everybody? It's your girl, B Octavia, and I am back with another episode of B4Real Podcast. If you are new to this podcast, if you are new to this channel, hey, how you doing? My name is B Octavia, and I am from Washington, D.C. Now, today I wanted to get into Mitchelle Blair. And this is some Detroit news. Shout out to Detroit, but not shout out to this lady right here, you know. And I feel like ever since I seen the different interviews that she did and I watched her trial proceedings and really got a scope of what her personality was really like, it just really stuck with me. And especially me having a child, I just can't imagine doing what she did. I will get into what she did right now. So, Miss Mitchelle Blair, she was 36 at the time, and she had 4 children. In 2015, I believe that CPS was called or something, a welfare check or something of that nature, but police was led to this home, this apartment of Mitchelle Blair. And in that apartment, in a deep freezer, held 2 bodies, which were 2 of her children. The bodies of Stoni Ann Blair, which was Mitchelle Blair's daughter, 13, and her young son, who was 8 at the time of his murder, named Stephen Barry. Now, the events that led up to her killing 2 of her children were this. Her young son, Stephen Barry, came to her and told her that he was being sexually abused by Miss Stoni Ann Blair. He told his mom that he got touched. And in reaction to this news, she killed both of them. But that's just saying it very briefly and moving on. Stephen Barry was killed in August of 2012. Stoni Ann Blair was killed in 2013. It was said by Mitchelle Blair, by their mother, that she killed the young boy first because she didn't want him to live with and deal with the trauma of being touched at a young age. She then tortured and killed Stoni Ann Blair, who was 13 at the time. She blames her actions on her being molested as a child. In an interview with Crime Watch Daily, she says that she told her mother about she was being sexually abused by a friend of hers. She told the interviewer that she told her mother about this happening to her, about her being abused sexually, and her mother did nothing about it. Going deeper into that, she says that her mom basically said, "It's over now. What do you want me to do about it?" Her resentment towards her mother and how her mother didn't stand up and do what's right is very obvious in Mitchelle Blair's tone. My question was, did the young Mitchelle Blair want this person to be killed, or where did her mind go as far as thinking of a punishment for this person? How did she want her mother to react? How did she expect her mother to react instead of what she actually did? Also, Mitchelle Blair's mother still let this person come in and out of their home and was still friends with this person. So it's obvious to me that she didn't want to be like her mother in the way that she would handle that same situation. But what she did forget was her situation wasn't really like the situation that Stephen Barry went through. The way her mind works to me is very shocking, or really made me remember her, because she said, anybody that knows me knows that touching children and children being touched is a no, which is understandable. However, in the situation with her own children, the accusation was alleged from her young son and from a child that probably wasn't getting the love and affection from their parent or from their mother that they should have been getting. And what I'm getting to is not that he was lying. I'm not saying that any child that comes out with this news is lying, but you have to do some investigating. You know what I'm saying? You really have to really do some digging before you go to very harsh measures as far as your children are concerned. This isn't like somebody from off the street or a friend of yours that you could question and they could lie and you don't know if they're telling the truth or lying still. You know, this is your daughter who you can talk to depending on what type of relationship y'all have, and just be honest, but obviously I feel like it the way that she was in her personality didn't start during the trial. And what I mean by that is her seriousness and her way of thinking about things and going about things in a harsh way didn't start towards her kids when they got killed or when they got tortured. It started way before this time. So back to the point, I'm not saying that he was lying, but what I can say from getting a scope into who she really is, I really don't think that she was giving them the time that they really deserved. And I feel like him telling her that this happened to him was probably a desperate attempt to get her attention, or for her to show some type of love and affection that she has never shown him. And with that accusation of a child being sexually abused by another child is not the same as an adult touching a child. Adults know that touching a child is wrong. Touching children is wrong. Children don't exactly know that, and a lot of different factors come into play when a situation like this occurs. And to me, as a parent and a parent's point of view, I feel like a lot of those factors fall upon the parents themselves. What you are showing your children and allowing them to see. Number one, where are both parents, and why are they not watching their children and giving them positive things to do? Curious children that, sneak some cookies or just curious things, right? It can go up in so many levels when they don't have supervision. So that's number one. Number two, who are their friends and what are they into? A lot of parents don't even be knowing the kids' friends no more. They don't know their friends' parents. They don't got their numbers. They don't know the address. They don't know if their children's friends are already sexually active. They don't know anything. So you have to know these type of things to know what they're seeing, to know what they're being exposed to when you're not around. Another thing that I thought about was, what are these children watching on TV and what are they listening to? Because there was even certain points in my adolescence where I came across things online on a computer that was, sexually graphic and things. And I didn't know what all of that was. Those type of things should be blocked. You have to really be aware of what your child and your children are doing. What is their relationship like? I wish the interviewer had a lot more questions about like her parenting. I get how you handle this and it still doesn't make sense. But how did you handle situations that was tinier than this when it came to your children? How did you handle that? I did see and I did read how she tortured her daughter and how she killed them both. And I really won't get into that because these children's lives were cut short over a split-second decision. And it's kind of scary because she might have thought on that. The young son who accused his sister of touching him, the young victim, he was killed first. And I'm not saying any of it makes sense, but what rationalization did you come to? How did you really think to do it that way? Did you even talk to them about it? Like a real conversation. There was another court proceeding that I seen where she went off on her children's fathers, and it was basically about them getting full custody of the remaining children. And she basically went off and was saying how they weren't in the children's lives even before the other children died. So, but honestly, I feel like she has some hate for her children already. I feel like she was waiting on something to happen. I feel like that. I do. I feel like she was waiting on something to happen, and if it wasn't that, it would have been something else. And if it wasn't them, it would have been all of them or the other two or whatever. I feel like she would have done it. The only thing that would have literally stopped her from killing these kids is not having them at all. I think that she's been like this for a while, and it is on the children's fathers as well, because if you know that the mother of your kids is not right mentally, if you know or have an inkling or a feeling that anything bad can happen while the children are in her care, you should have fought earlier. You should have fought sooner. And I know the stigma and what people say about men who are fighting for their kids in court and it's not working out and everything. But listen, the way that Stephen Barry came to his mother, I feel like if he would have came to the court with that same story with help of his father and of the other side of the family, those kids would have been saved. It does take more. It takes a lot more than what you think. If you think that you're doing it all, you know what I'm saying? Especially if the woman ain't right and all that. If you think that you're doing your all and you're not getting anywhere, you're not doing your all to fight for your children. You're not. I don't care what you got to do. Record phone calls. You know how nasty women get sometimes when the court proceedings is proceeding. So you fight fire with fire. Get smart. Record phone calls. Take videos. Get a hidden camera. Really grow a bond with your kids so they feel comfortable telling you things. It's a lot of people to blame in this, but the biggest one, the hugest one of them all is Miss Mitchelle Blair. I couldn't even fathom having children and taking them off of this earth myself, in any regard. I couldn't imagine anybody taking any child. I couldn't imagine anybody taking my child's life. I couldn't imagine me doing that. The thought of that makes me want to throw up. It really does. And I feel like Mitchelle Blair will be engraved in my mind because it will be yet another figure and an example of what not to be like and how not to handle these type of situations. It's a very serious situation, very serious allegation. And it takes more. It takes a very great parent to get to the bottom of it, to the truth and to the lies, and figure out a solution. And the solution is never to harm your children, period. So thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of B4Real Podcast. It's your girl B Octavia, and I will see you guys. I will talk to you guys in the next episode.
Subscribe to my mommy's video. Subscribe.